In recent posts, I've been drawing analogies between quantum fluctuations and qualia fluctuations. So let's take this a little deeper into how this affects our experience of life and also our experience of things like pain, pleasure, and suffering. So we start with the key point, and that key point is awareness or consciousness is the fundamental ground of experience, not the fluctuating contents of experience. And just as the screen is different from the images that appear on it, or the ocean floor is distinct from the waves of the ocean, awareness is said to be independent of the particular thoughts, emotions, sensations, or perceptions that arise within it. Awareness is the constant changing background against which all experiences come and go. It is not in itself a changing phenomenon, but rather the space in which experiences happen. This, this distinction between awareness and the contents of experience is sometimes referred to as the direct method, which is directly recognizing the ever present non dual nature of consciousness rather than getting caught up in the flow of experiences. The implication is that by recognizing the inherent freedom and independence of awareness itself, one can gain a sense of peace, equanimity, and non attachment, even in the midst of changing experiences. The fluctuations of life are seen as the play of awareness rather than as something can fundamentally disturb or define it. In this view, the ultimate nature of reality is this ever present non dual awareness, the screen or ocean floor that underlies and supports all of our experiences, yet remains untouched by them. Realizing this is the key to true freedom and freedom ultimately from karma as well. So if we get this, then we can go a little further. How does this experience, how does this knowledge affect our experience of things like pain and pleasure and all the things that we call suffering and sometimes happiness and joy? So here is how we go into this understanding. First of all, recognize that pain and pleasure involve overlapping neural pathways and can have opposing effects on each other. The perception of pain or pleasure is highly dependent on context and expectations. Mild pain can even be perceived as pleasurable if it is preceded by the expectation of intense pain. But there are other examples when there is extreme pleasure or extreme pain, the sensations are actually quite similar, the context is different. In any case, fundamentally, pain and pleasure seem to serve an evolutionary process purpose, according to many thinkers, scientists, biologists. And pain and pleasure serve an evolutionary purpose in regulating behavior and restoring homeostasis. They are not simply opposites on a continuum, but rather complementary experiences that shape our perceptions and motivation. Regarding this follow up issue that I've raised, um, there can be a deeper understanding. And that is that our perceptions and associations with pain and pleasure can be modulated. This implies that cultivating a more detached observational awareness of these sensations rather than getting caught up in the subjective experience may reduce their disruptive impact. So, two ways to do this. One is a detached observation of sensations and images and feelings and thoughts, detached observation. Okay, this is called vipassana. And the second way is to actually shift your awareness from the contents of experience to the source, to the screen that is unchanging. And right there, you experience peace because you become independent of the fluctuations. So we can go a little bit deeper also here. So the idea that pain and pleasure are not inherent opposites, but relative experiences suggests that awareness of the underlying unity beyond these fluctuations could provide a sense of equanimity. So, what is the underlying unity between pleasure and pain? They come from the same source, and we can get to the source by transcending the senses. So, now we have three methods: observing the phenomena detached, sinking back into the awareness of all experience, two, and then through transcendence of thought, as for example, in mantra meditation. So when we do that, we actually are going to an inward awareness to rescue us from the vicissitudes of life, pleasure and pain, birth and death, um, everything, hot and cold, uh, you know, hate and attachment, or distrust and trust. All these opposites make life possible, but the source of these opposites is independent of all opposites and transcends them. Okay, given this understanding, three things. Number one, detached observation of sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts. Number two, turning back to the source, to the screen, the non changing factor in which these fluctuations occur. And number three, transcendence of sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts. This is how we slowly gain equanimity, empathy, joy, and freedom from karma. Let me know what you think.